Hey YouTube, this is Jaden coming at you from Team Shadow Strike, and over here, as you see, I have my good friend here, Zane here, who's you see with me every weekend.
Yep.
So anyway, he's going to be bringing you a deck profile today, and it's going to be Granblue, something you've been asking for, something we haven't seen forever, but with the new set BT13, Catastrophic Outbreak, we finally can give a updated Granblue deck profile. So here you go.
It's pretty fancy that we finally get to come back into action, and I think you guys remember me having this shirt the last time I did a Granblue profile, so that's pretty convenient, I think. Alright, so a lot's changed since set 6 for Granblue. So originally we had, really only one great viable option as a grade 3, which that was Ice Prison Necromancer Cocytus, which we haven't seen the last of him, but I'll get to that in a moment. So I've tested around with this deck a little bit since the change up. We've got slightly a different build than we did before. So my starter is still Captain Nightcat. I am partially known as Captain around here, so that's one reason I keep him. But also it's Selective Mill, which that's what I like. But also the new Vanguard that you get for Granblue, it's still not bad. It's Counterblast 1, put in your soul, mill top 2 cards of your deck, and you draw a card. And then you have this guy in your soul, which in this new set, soul just became your biggest best friend. So I will get down to the triggers now. We have 12 crit and 4 heals in this deck. So we have 4 Banshees, which are the most important one that you're going to want to have because you have a chance of drawing a card and getting some soul charge. You get, next up, Night Spirits because they are part of a superior ride that's kind of old. Not really seen anymore, but it's still semi-possible. So if you were ever to run any specific crit trigger, this one might be one of them that you want. And then the last one that's even available right now is Ghoul Cannonball. This one's just for fun. Now you could run, 8 crit, 4 draw, and the deck would still work just fine. But
do you find the crits help you are able to deal with the meta a little bit easier, so you can surprise them on that third turn and just triple crit them for the win?
Now, that's what I gotta say, because back in set 6, Granblue was kind of locked in like Season 2-esque area, where it only did really good in that generation. Past then, not so much. Now that we got new stuff, we can actually hold up our own. So the crit back then helped a lot, but now it's just really helpful for the extra abilities that we have. And plus, with the new way this deck works, you're not going to need drop triggers if you play it luckily enough. And so we have 4 Dr. Rouges. There's 2 heal triggers. One looks like Boo from Mario Brothers, and then we have Dr. Rouge, which is a sexy vampire trick. I prefer this one myself. Then we're still running ourselves for Shabby the Ghosty. You wonder, why would I take out so much space in my deck just for these little guys? Selective Mill, 10k shields, and they're fun. They can, if you're grade locked, these guys can save your life if you're running the ride chain for Cocytus. So they're handy for that, but also putting stuff in your drop zone that you normally couldn't before. And I'll get to my favorite unit to put in the drop zone now in a real close second. After that, we have 3 perfect guards. So far, that's all I have, but also at the same time, I think that's just about all you need, typically every day, if they're going to run perfect guards at all.
Just for S&Gs, guys, if you do have an extra one lying around and you're willing to deal with it, let me know.
I'd be happy to
try and get that off you, because, in my opinion, probably one of the best looking perfect cards there is.
And also one of the hardest ones to find nowadays.
Yeah. Came out only set 2, and that set's done.
So, question: were you the 3 clans that are the kind of the ones that are forgotten about, which are your Granblue, your Great Nature, and your Spike Brothers? Were you mad that Spike Brothers got a reprint of their perfect guard, but you guys didn't?
Yes and no. Yes, because that makes it incredibly hard to find my stuff now, and also kind of shows a little bit. Yeah, and then also makes it feel a little bit more biased, but at the same time, old double rares are my favorite because they're all glittery and they're sparkly and everything, so they look fantastic. So the ones you do have are just great.
Yeah. Well, guys, so give me a shout out if you happen to have one.
That'd be lovely. Now we have 2 Skeletal Colossus, which is the first part of the Cocytus ride chain. It's a if you start your ride phase and you have the grade 2 version in your discard pile, you can discard a card from your hand and then ride that guy. So that's where Chappie comes in handy, so you can get the grade 2 version, so you can go on to the next ride just in case you don't have one in your hand, a grade 2 I mean. But I only run 2 of them because they're not the most important one of them, I would think, because there's still a lot of other grade ones you can still run, and it'd be just fine. Next comes Samurai Spirits. I have only 2 of these now because as the new sets came out, there's not much need to have toolboxy kind of characters like Deadly Nightmare or Deadly Spirit or even
Captain Nightmist.
Yeah.
Or Samurai Spirit.
Yeah, because now you're able to do new stuff that'll get him back out to the field. You don't have to waste every single card in your hand just to bring out one guy or a lot of your resources. It makes it much easier now. So that's why I only run 2 of these. They're just in case, you don't know what might happen. And also, if you kill off something and then you put this on the field, it can go anywhere. So let's say I have a booster behind my Vanguard. Let's say I have Night Kid behind my Vanguard, and let's say I didn't use him. He's in the drop zone. Get rid of Night Kid. Put this guy somewhere. And then if I have a grade 1 in my hand that's 7k, I'll just put it behind my Vanguard. Next comes my favorite grade 1 of the new set. Sea Strolling Banshee. This chick. Not only does she have a parasol for underwater, but she has 6k power. That's not the best, but it still works. However, the ability is the important part. If it's brought back from the grave, Soul Blast 1 and draw a card.
It's kind of like the reverse version of the one that from Gold Paladin if it was Spirit called out of the deck.
Yeah.
Can't think of her name off the top of my head. Dendrain.
Oh, yeah.
So it's an opposite of Dendrain.
Yeah.
If it's called out of the drop zone.
Yeah. Which, with this deck, you're going to be doing a lot of and frequently. This adds your draw power so you can keep that 12 crit if you really want that damage.
So it makes up for you not playing draw triggers in the deck.
Absolutely. But they have a pretty new draw trigger now, which I do have on.
How come you don't play it?
Because 12 crit's a little bit better in my opinion.
It is a prettier draw trigger.
Yeah.
It is a much prettier draw trigger than that ugly one we had.
Yeah, the other one was Hook Willing Zombie, and he had like a crab arm, and then he got a hook, I think.
Kind of looked like Hillary Clinton.
Top or bottom? No.
Yeah.
Anyway. So.
Both.
Yeah. Ugh. Get some
I'd
butter.
rather make out with the zombie than Hillary Clinton.
Me too. The
Alright.
zombie would treat you better too.
Alright, so for grade 2s, let's see, how many grade 1s do we have? We have 4 Banshees, 4 of these guys, and then we have 11 grade 1s. You would think you wouldn't ride too often, but sadly enough, I can do it just fine. They end up to the top of the deck just fine. And plus, if you have Chappies, you're thinning out your deck from anything else. So you can grab whatever you need. Then for grade 2s, I think we have 11 grade 2s. There might be 12 now, I'm not sure. We have 4 of the Skeletal Demon Knights. Now, this is the second part of the Skeletal Colossus ride chain. So this guy turns into this guy. I want 4 of him in this deck because if you're missing a grade 3, and we've all been there, you at least have that ability because you'll be waiting turns otherwise to get your grade 2 if you don't have it. But if you don't have your grade 3...
Just like me with the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. It bails you out.
Mm-hmm. It's so handy. And plus, it lets you get that opportunity to drop a card to the discard pile if you really want to. Say you had this in your hand. It's not useful in your hand. It's useful in the drop zone. You can just sack it off into the drop zone. Worry about it later. So I have 4 of these. Then comes up another old friend, Deadly Spirit. Only 2 of them this time. The only reason I'm running 2 of them is because they're a guy that you can retire a grade 1 or greater Granblue Rearguard and retire it to Soul Blast 2 as well and place him on a Rearguard instead. The reason I run only 2 of him now is because he's a Soul Blast 2. And as you heard before, this is Soul Blast 1. This would counter this a lot more if you use this primarily, like if you were trying to do this kind of thing. So once in a while, it might be nice, but not all the time.
Yeah, you'd much rather save it for your Banshee.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as you have these in the deck, you still have the ability to do it. So that's the really important part.
You need to have Unflipper
Yeah.
in order to use both of them.
Yeah. Which is where 3-star Chef Petro comes in handy. He's your damage flipper. 9k grade 2. Who's pretty handy. I've limited him down to 2 because I'm not doing as much counterblasting anymore. There's only 2 units that even counterblast anymore besides
Night Kid.
Night Kid. So his use has come down very little, but it's still handy for a grade 2. Next comes the... Actually, pardon me. There's one more. I do run still one Night Mist because... Or Captain Mist because there's a different one now. Just because, again, anything can happen. As long as you have it in your deck, it'll be useful. So it's a Counterblast 1, retire one of your grade 1 or highers to do this with.
Is that your personal chat?
Yeah, pretty much. I like having him in the deck. Also, he complements the new grade 3 that we have too, but I'll get to that in a moment again. So, our new grade 2 that we have is Dragon Corrode Corrupt Dragon. He is a 9k who... This is our closest thing to a 12k attacker for our deck as we get. If he's brought back from the drop zone, he gets an extra 3k. So, again, handy in the drop zone. You can drop him with your Chappie if you want to, or other abilities. You have all the time in the world to get these into the drop zone, or even intercept with them and then bring them back later. They get that power boost, and that helps a lot with their new grade 3. Which, now we go to the grade 3s after we do a little quick count of our grade 2s. 2 Corrupt, 1 Night Mist, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. Yep, we have 11 grade 2s. So nothing's really over anything else. So, alright, now go to grade 3s. We have 7 grade 3s, I know that for sure. We have 2 of our old friend, Ice Prison Necromancer Cocytus. It was really hard for me to find out how am I going to build this deck. Because back in the day, you have, Thanatos, who if he hits, you can Counterblast 1, kill him and get a new guy to the field. You've had Dragon Undead Skull Dragon, kill a grade 2 or higher with a Counterblast, and then get a grade 3 that is
a grade 10?
Yeah.
A grade 10.
Granblue, overpowered. No. So, yeah, a 13k attacker essentially that died at the end of the turn. But now, also Monster Frank, who's a grade 3 that if you have him drop zone, you Counterblast 3, you can ride him, which is pretty handy. But Cocytus, we only run 2 of him. His ability is Counterblast 2 when you place him on Vanguard. Grab anybody from your drop zone and put it on rear guard permanently. So that's pretty cool. Huh? Oh yeah. And
I can upload it through YouTube, so take all the time you need.
Alright, so and also we have a 5k when we have Limit Break. So he's a 15k attacker, 1 for Limit Break. Not bad. Again, this was all we had to work with back in the day. Now we have new stuff, and we come to now my probably new avatar of the deck. 3, what's his name now? Lord of the Seven Seas Night Mist. A stunning resemblance because, well, it is him. He's our break ride now. We finally get a break ride. And his ability is, when a Granblue rides this unit, during your limit break, of course, choose your Vanguard, and until that turn, till the end of the turn, that unit gets plus 10k, and choose up to 2 Granblue from your drop zone, call them to rear guard, and those units get an extra 5k until the end of the turn, and at the end of that turn, retire those units. Bringing back 2 Banshees for fun, drawing 2 cards, having them both have 5k, they're both doing 11 on their own.
So it can boost units for 11k.
We get some pretty fantastic things off of this. Or, if you grab, him, you got a 17k attacker right off the bat. Very handy. And also, if his plus 2 when he attacks is if you have 4 more Granblue rear guards, which is unusual, but now we can kind of do it, so I kind of get it. Next comes something I never would have expected me putting into a deck because I'm not a fan of reverse, lock, link jokers, anything like that, but it's been a very handy help to the deck, I have to say, and that would be Ice Prison Hades Emperor Cocytus Reverse. I run 2 of him. He's the cross ride to our old friend, and his ability is lock one of your rear guards and put the top 3 cards of your deck into the drop zone. And then you get to choose 1 Granblue from your drop zone, call it to a rear guard, and that you can get 3,000 to the end of the turn.
And it stays too, doesn't it?
Yes, it stays. So if you wanted, you can do this multiple times, get many things in the drop zone, have all the things you want to pick from to put on the rear guard. You can lock a whole column if you want to, and then by the end of your turn, you're going to have 2 complete columns ready for you to go. So that on top of Night Mist. And also I think you can lock one of the units that you bring back with him, and it will stay on the field.
Yes.
That's another thing.
That is true. Because it was locked.
Yeah.
So it's no longer affected.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you're able to get him in the soul and ride your Cocytus Reverse, you're sitting at a 13k body, so it makes it a much easier for you to guard with.
Absolutely. That was the real thing that we were needing back in the day. Just at least 11k body, that was decent. Back then, we just had a Swordsmaster who was a very nearly impossible spear.
So overall, what is your opinion on the new deck? Do you like it?
I like it a little bit better than I did before. I mean, it's much more handy. And if I were to pick anything other than reverse, to say if you don't want to play reverse, yeah, just stick with Cocytus and then Night Mist. I'd go 4 Night Mist and 3 regular Cocytus. That'd work out pretty fine. You get your field just swarmed back each turn and stuff. I'd probably run more Corrupt Dragons and stuff. But the deck overall, I like it a lot better. It's more viable now for people that want to play Granblue.
Well, guys, anyway, this deck profile was probably a little bit longer than most of mine is, but the reason that being is Granblue, you don't see it that much, so I wanted Zane to at least explain all of his choices. So you can also learn kind of what he thinks about. It is a little unorthodox since he does play 4 copies of a grade 0, and that's not his starter. But I have been on the receiving end of this deck. He has it built pretty consistently. I'm going to be doing at least a hand or two, and then maybe some matches in the future so you can see this deck in action. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Comment, rate, subscribe, thumbs up the video. Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and see you later.
See ya.